President Trump, why should people who never owned slaves pay reparations to people who never were slaves to go back to their homelands? 1998, Tyisha Miller was found unconscious in her car in Riverside, California. Police fired 12 times, killing her. No officers were charged. She was unarmed. 1998, Donta Dawson was shot and killed by Philadelphia police during a traffic stop. Charges were dismissed. He was unarmed. 1999, Amadou Diallo was shot 41 times by NYPD officers while reaching for his wallet. All officers were acquitted. He was unarmed. 2003, Usman Zongo was shot 4 times by an NYPD officer. The officer was criminally convicted of negligent homicide. No jail time was received. He was unarmed. 2004, Timothy Stanberry Jr. was shot and killed by an NYPD officer in Brooklyn. The shooting was deemed unjustified. The officer was not indicted. He was unarmed. 2006, Sean Bell was shot at 50 times by NYPD officers the morning of his wedding. All officers were acquitted. He was unarmed. 2012, Rekia Boyd was shot in the head by an off-duty Chicago police detective who fired into a group in an alley. The officer was acquitted on all charges. She was unarmed. 2013, Jonathan Farrell was seeking help after a car crash when police shot him 9 times. The officer was charged but acquitted. He was unarmed. 2014, Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. Officer was not indicted. He was unarmed. 2014, Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy, was shot within seconds by Cleveland police while playing with a toy gun. No officers were indicted. He was unarmed. 2014, Eric Gardner is choked to death by an NYPD officer while saying, "I can't breathe." No officers indicted. He was unarmed. 2015, Sandra Bland is found dead with multiple injuries in her Texas jail cell after a traffic stop. Her death's ruled a suicide. She was unarmed. 2015, Freddie Gray died from spinal injuries while in Baltimore police custody. All officers were acquitted or had charges dropped. He was unarmed. 2016, Alton Sterling was pinned and shot multiple times by Baton Rouge police. No officers charged. He was unarmed. 2018, Stephon Clark was holding a cell phone in his grandmother's backyard. Officers fired 20 rounds. No charges filed. He was unarmed. 2020, Breonna Taylor was shot during a botched no-knock raid in her apartment. No officers charged for her death. She was unarmed. 2021, Dante Wright was shot by an officer who claimed she mistook her gun for a taser. She received 2 years for manslaughter. He was unarmed. 2022, Patrick Lyoya was shot in the back of the head by a Michigan officer during a traffic stop. Case ended in a mistrial. He was unarmed. 2022, Jalen Walker was shot more than 60 times by Akron police after fleeing on foot, unarmed. 2023, Roger Forston, a U.S. Air Force airman, shot in his apartment by Florida deputy. He's unarmed. 2023, Tyree Nichols was beaten to death by Memphis police officers during a traffic stop. Officers are acquitted. He was unarmed. 2024, Sonia Massey was shot by an Illinois deputy after calling 911 for help. The deputy has not been convicted. She was unarmed. President Trump, the blood has not been forgotten. The law of God, the righteous judge, is clear. You shall not pollute the land where you are, for if blood defiles the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed there, but by the blood of him that shed it. I call heaven and earth to record this day, the close of this 3-day testimony. If no one will stand in the gap as a witness for your nation, I ask God to let the judgment and the sentence go forth with haste in the name of Yeshua. Get in touch with us at rep2025.org.